On today's podcast, I had Vijay Krishnan on. Vijay is the founder of a social media finance app called Verde, and it's actually a project that I am now a part of. He's only 24 years old, and let me tell you, we had a very good conversation talking about what it's like starting up a tech company. For those of you who have maybe had a good idea that you've never done anything with, I think this podcast can be super insightful for you just to kind of understand the steps when you go from idea to MVP. If you don't even know what MVP is, you definitely need to watch the product or the podcast, and then just see what it's like trying to raise money from private equity and hedge funds and venture capital and all these things, and then go to market and figure out how to go get users. Like there's this clear path that tech takes, and as somebody who's going through it right now with Tykes and some of my other projects I'm working on, it's super fascinating to me. So I love meeting other founders and learning about projects. And I think if you're ever thinking about starting a tech project, this podcast can be super insightful. And also, too, if you're interested in finance, I think that Verde itself is going to be super great for you as well. So with all that being said, make sure you stay to the end so you can see how the story plays out. Now, let's jump into it. Welcome to the Ryan Pineda Show, where our mission is to invest.
I only expect to make money in things that I understand.
Innovate.
It's about believing in the future and thinking that the future will be better than the past.
And inspire. I am much more likely to hit my goal just due to putting it out there.
You're now rocking with the best.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Ryan Pineda Show. Today, I've got a young gunner on who is trying to change the game of social media. He is trying to bridge finance and transparency and expertise onto a social media platform called Verde, which I am actually a part of, and we'll talk all about that later. I've got none other than my man, Vijay Krishnan.
How's it going, man?
I said it right?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
All right.
Pronunciation.
Man, I always get people with some, kind of different names, and I always make sure I say it right. So, dude, we're going to talk all about Verde and kind of like why I wanted to be a part of it. But, man, you're only 24. You've got an interesting background. As I've gotten more into tech and, started investing in tech companies and starting my own tech companies and stuff, I've realized, like, man, this is the future with everything going on. How did you get into this space? What's your background?
Well, my background's in tech, so I've always kind of been in the tech space, even like before college. But I studied electrical and computer engineering at Georgia Tech, and then also that's where also I studied a lot of quantitative and computational finance. I've always kind of been interested, especially in the startup space. When I was earlier in college, I actually tried to start a startup back then, which was going to be like a marketplace platform to invest in like music royalties. And that's kind of when I realized that, at least at that time, I didn't have a single chance at actually building anything if I didn't have any kind of fundamental knowledge of technology. So I kind of went down that route, kind of increased my domain knowledge, worked at Amazon for a couple of years. And then, when the pandemic struck, one of my good friends from when I was working with him in Panasonic, Gautam, he and I got together and we came up with Verde.
Yeah, what's interesting is, the whole royalty thing. You're now starting to see that with NFTs.
Oh, I know. I was ahead of my game, I guess. It's so funny, but it's tell me about, I guess, what you're doing with the NFT space with Tykes. I've been reading about it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm all in on NFTs, obviously. By the time this podcast launches, maybe Tykes will be pretty close to being released. But yeah, dude, we're trying to change the game with real estate and crypto just because I can see it. The blockchain is where real estate belongs with everything that we do. And there's so many ways to fractionalize and tokenize real estate, just like there is with, artist royalties, right? Like it just makes so much sense, and it opens up so much more opportunity and flexibility for artists, for operators, for investors, and all these things. Like I just think it's going to be enormous.
Yeah, and if you kind of think about what it is at its core, they're all kind of fundamentally the same business model, really. It's about being able to, it's that whole creator economy, gig economy. It's like you have individual people who are now just being able to express themselves artistically, whether that's through music, whether that's through art, whether that's through, whatever venture there is, creating educational content. And I think we're starting to see a lot more applications where we can really promote and give them a sustainable way of living, just, via them being able to do what they're passionate about. So that's been really cool.
So, yeah, I could talk about Tykes all day, but if everyone wants to get a Tykes Tykes.io. You can learn more about it. And like I said, I don't know when this is going to get released, but I would guess we haven't released Tykes by the time this is happening. So you still got a chance to get in on the mint. But yeah, I mean, tell me a little bit. I mean, you said you tried your first startup. You realized like it wasn't going to work, even though the idea was great.
At the time, I guess, yeah.
How long was that?
That was about 4 years ago now. Yeah. So I was still in college. I thought it sounded cool. I thought, like how hard could it be to build an app and marketplace and with no funding? I thought it was going to be easy breezy. No, yeah, I got a harsh slap in the face, and I was like, okay, I really have to understand how to build technology on a scalable level, on how to actually build a company that, I mean, especially when you're working in finance or anything with that space, like, people's individual data, you need to have, levels of security. So it took a while for me to learn how to do things, and also just learn how to build a team around that. So it was kind of a growing process, leading up to when Verity started.
Yeah, 100%. So what were you in school for?
At Georgia Tech? Yeah, so it was electrical and computer engineering, and I did
what do you
some
do with
data
that?
science stuff. Oh, it's funny. I don't think in my entire life I've used an ounce of what I learned in my electrical and computer engineering degree. Because I mean, like after that, when I went to work at Amazon, that was pure software development. So I mean, I guess a little bit of like development skills I picked up, while doing engineering. But yeah, I know most people who do ECE, they end up working at large, I guess, hardware companies, things like that, and then like NVIDIA when they're building graphics chips, things like that.
So that's what an electrical engineer would do.
That's what an electrical engineer would do. Yeah.
And what's a data scientist do?
A data scientist, well, they process large subsets of data, and they try to make sense of it. Really, that's kind of what it is at its core. And then you extrapolate on that with more sophisticated algorithms, and you start touching into machine learning, and then you keep developing on that, and then it kind of gets into this whole like AI aspect of things. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm currently reading a book right now about AI. And dang, I don't even remember what it's called, but I'm like almost done with it, and it's kind of blowing my mind, like where AI is going. Obviously I see why people are so scared of like its potential, because it's like, man, dude, whoever figures it out, it's like they're gonna own the world, and then at some point machines might own us, and so it's just like,
yeah. Did you see the Google thing recently in the news? There people are freaking out right now because Google, apparently some engineer at Google leaked out that one of their AI projects like became sentient, and everyone was going crazy about that. And that's kind of actually going to lead me into my next thing. But yeah, it kind of just goes, well, so first of all, it was not sentient. It was like saying that, like, though it was talking very interestingly, it was saying that, oh yeah, I understand human emotions. Human emotions are really just nothing but fragmented pieces of data, and I'm able to process it and understand it. And so from an outsider who's never seen any kind of robot speak anything to that extent, I can understand how it's a little like, whoa, that's pretty insane. But yeah, no, that I guess quote unquote Google whistleblower that played a game of telephone with all the social media, and so people are freaking out, and it's kind of what's happening in the financial markets too, a little bit. Kind of with people, you have like your good creators in the finance space and who talk about stocks, who talk about investing, and then you have people who are looking for opportunities to create more content, and they take some of it but not all of it, and then it kind of becomes this content game of telephone. And then you have some random creators that have like a ton of following, but that ends up being an adapted version of what was initially meant to be said. And then you just start this whole spread of financial misinformation or stuff like that. So yeah,
that's part of the reason I don't even watch content anymore, because I'm just like, you know what, I'm just gonna say what I want to say, and there's like no, like it's all just from me, and whatever I feel like is just what I'm gonna say.
Yeah. I've had to kind of change my mind when it comes to content and stuff like that. I've started putting myself out there a little bit more. It's something I wish I did a little bit earlier, but yeah, I think I'm definitely trying to make more than I am consuming. But I think consuming is a good part of learning how to make content. So.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you're training yourself to do it. Yeah. So let's talk about Verde, right? So, you go through all these different things, and, all of a sudden you settle on this idea. So, like, what was the idea for Verde?
Yeah. So it kind of started. So, like I said, I've been interested in capital markets for years. I mean, even when I was like, there's a big game that we used to play when we were younger, like 13, 14. It's called Investopedia, where you have like a fake brokerage account. So, like ever since then, I've always been super interested.
How old were you?
13. Something like that.
Dude, whenever I hear about people doing this, I'm like, it blows my mind that I meet like people who are like, yeah, dude, ever since I was 13, 14, I wanted to invest in real estate and all this. I'm like, I was worried about hitting baseballs, and like I didn't know any of my friends who were like thinking about investing.
Hey man, I wish I was in the MLB. That's pretty sweet though. That's definitely something pretty cool. But no, yeah. So it eventually what happened is there was a huge revolution in social media where like the social adoption among retail investors just started getting crazy, and we started seeing it become fully realized when the whole GameStop AMC stuff happened like a couple years ago. It's been a couple years now, right?
Yeah.
But yeah. So what's happening now is that you're having the idea of investing in general is getting increasingly popularized. New and young Gen Z investors, a lot of these new young folks, they want to come into the market. They want to immediately start investing. They're seeing so much content on TikTok and stuff like that about these traders making tons of money. All these people, all these passive side hustles. So they get into it, and which is great. That's the first step of like developing financial literacy. But what started happening is a lot of people started losing a ton of money, and it's because as social investment kind of started growing, it didn't grow in the right way. I always say this is one of the biggest ironies of social media is that in a place where you're kind of putting it all out there, there's not really a lot of transparency. So transparency and integrity became kind of like these two focal points of what I was seeing. And then on the flip side, there was also this trend where now everyone started moving towards being like day traders and swing traders and wanting to buy meme coins on crypto and all this other stuff. And this new generation of folks were really kind of stepping away from long-term investing. And it's not just that. A lot of them don't even know how to set up brokerage accounts. So there was really just a huge problem with financial literacy that we kind of quickly identified. And we thought, okay, here's something that we're really passionate about. My co-founder Gautam and I, we both had a decent background in investing in tech as well. So got together, started kind of ideating, how can we really solve this problem of educating folks, helping them to actually get started with their financial journey, while also allowing them to continue to leverage social media, right? Because you can't make them step away from it. But how do we build this in a way that you're promoting integrity, promoting transparency? So that was kind of the whole mission behind it.
And how long ago did you guys get that idea?
It's been about 1.5 years now.
Okay, so you get an idea, right? Most people who get an idea kind of just let it go by the wayside, right? It's like, this would be such a great idea. And then like 5 years later, like, I thought of that. And I'm like, well, no one cares. You didn't do anything about it, right? So at what point did you say, this is a really good idea, like, let's actually do something about it?
Yeah, from the point at which Gautam gave me a phone call, we incorporated the company in about a month. So we went pretty quick with it, because especially at the time too, a lot of these other social investment players, when we came up with the idea for Verde, there wasn't many other platforms or any companies available that were even kind of remotely doing what we were envisioning. And then it's funny, throughout this journey of building, now we're seeing so many more social fintech companies coming out, and now the space is getting kind of, there's new players in, but yeah, we knew that we wanted to get to market really quickly, especially with the way that venture capital was, especially in fintech and Web3 and just the massive valuations they were getting. If we wanted to be able to compete and go to market, we knew that we would have to be able to get an MVP ready quickly, get product market fit validated quickly, raise capital so that we can match just these pure cost of acquisitions that these fintech companies have the luxury of having, right? So,
if you're listening to this podcast, then my guess is you're interested in real estate investing. Some of you are just starting out, while others are trying to scale their business to the next level. But the problem is, with so much information out there, most people don't know which program or coach to trust. Well, I'm a bit biased, but I believe my company, Future Flipper, can help you get to the next level. We've coached thousands of students from all over the world on how to build their real estate investing business. It doesn't matter whether you want to flip, wholesale, or buy rentals. Our coaching program has everything you need to become a great investor. There are many things that we include with coaching, but to give you a few examples, you're going to get an accountability coach. These are people that have had success in their own business, and they want to make sure that you achieve success in yours. We also have all of our documents, our systems, and processes that I've used to buy hundreds of homes. You can copy and paste them directly into your own business. And we have events where you get to meet me, top-level guest speakers, and other students who are crushing it. My students do deals with each other, and I personally do deals with them too. In fact, at a recent event, I just honored over 20 people in our program that made over $1 million in the last year. So if you want to grow your real estate business, head over to futureflipper.com and apply for a call with our team. The call is completely free, and they can help point you in the right direction whether you work with us or not. So go to futureflipper.com and book your call today. For the last year, the real estate market has been on absolute fire. Prices are at all-time highs, interest rates are at all-time lows, and there is more money in the economy than ever. But with so much competition, many investors are sitting on cash, struggling to find great deals. If this sounds like you, then you need to invest with Pineda Capital. With my network and social media following, we get access to the best real estate deals all over the country. And if you're an accredited investor, you can invest with me on those deals. In fact, last year we purchased a 334-unit apartment complex in Georgia for almost $20 million. We expect it to be worth well over $30 million when it's all said and done. Our goal with each deal is to build in so much equity from the beginning that we're able to refinance our investors' cash out and own the properties together with little to no money into the deal. And the best part is, you don't have to do anything. Our team will find the deals, handle the renovations, get them leased, and eventually refinanced or sold. All you have to do is provide the capital. So if you want exclusive access to our deals before they hit the public, go to pinedacapital.com to schedule a call. We can put your money to work today to start getting you great returns. So go to pinedacapital.com now to get access to our deals. Right. So, you start the raise, you start getting everything done. That was a year and a half ago. And just behind the scenes, you guys have been working, right?
Yeah, man, every day. Yeah.
Every day. So where does everything stand as of now?
Yeah. So I think you're right. So there's so much that kind of goes on behind the scenes that I think from the outside looking in, it kind of just looks like a team of folks working on a project together. But so I guess the whole journey of things very concisely was we had an idea, then we went to go build an MVP, and by MVP I mean literally like.
For those of you who don't know, MVP means not most valuable player, as many of us would think. I mean, and I had to learn this because my tech team was like, yeah, we're going to get the MVP. And I'm like, I'm the MVP. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, I'm here. And they're like, no, dude, MVP means minimum viable product. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Essentially, like the bare bones minimum of like, hey, can we actually go launch this thing? And obviously we're going to make updates and everything, but let's just get it to market.
Right. And I think that's something that a lot of founders kind of, they learn as they go along, is that you get so attached to this idea, and then you become very nuanced on all these little things that you want to change, like adding dark mode to your platform.
Right.
Everyone's adding dark mode. Honestly, I might take that back. Dark mode seems like an essential feature in today's day and age. But so after MVP, and then landing page, we started just getting some feelers, sending the landing page to folks, seeing if this kind of mission and this kind of a platform would resonate with folks. And then we started doing a lot of user research too. So a lot of it was, for the first 6 months, a lot of planning, trying to understand our own audience and our own market. I think one of the things that I learned along the way is that the biggest mistake that I could have made is making assumptions about my own audience. As much as I had strong convictions about the way that Gen Z retail investors behave and act, and if I want to put in features that I think that they would like, I can't do that without it's a business decision to make, right? And it has to be validated by their actual approval and their the data that they're providing you with. So I spent a lot of time actually validating the idea, seeing if it's something that was feasible, if there's something that people would like. Then we started aggressively building a team around it. So we raised a pre-seed round about, what was it? It's been, I guess, 7 months ago. We'd also bootstrapped some in the beginning. I think the fact that Gautam and I had both were working full-time jobs in tech kind of helped us, being able to bootstrap. But we started building a team around it. We're at 18 folks now, so we're pretty proud of that. It's a pretty awesome group of guys. Now we're just continuing to build. So I guess I didn't really talk too much about what Verde actually is. Verde is essentially it's a platform designed to promote financial literacy while also being able to leverage social media, and it's a place where we can also incentivize good financial content creators to come make content and educate their community, alongside with giving investors resources to be able to invest. So Verde right now has 3 kind of products, if you will. The first one is called Verde Insights. Verde Insights is like a stock research platform, like you're Seeking Alphas or your Morningstar. Kind of what we did differently there was a lot of these, like a Morningstar valuation report. If you go to Morningstar and look up a valuation report for a company, you get a 10-page document. The average consumer is not willing to sit through and read all of that. And It's also a bunch of financial jargon that people don't really understand, right? So how can we make all of valuation of equities like a story that people can kind of understand quickly? So we started modeling that. on Verde Insights. Then on My Verde is a portfolio manager. So you can onboard your own portfolio, regardless of what brokerage you have. And Verde will give you insights on how you can improve your portfolio. So if you've gotten started with investing, but you don't know if like, hey, is my asset allocation okay? Like, is my portfolio diversified well enough? Things like that you can get kind of value out of, and it's integrated with the Insights platform. And then of course there's the social aspect, right? Verde Social. And so Verde Social is where it's a platform where you can actually follow the portfolios and trades of your friends and family. But like I mentioned, you can also follow content creators that Verde kind of hand selects. So these people are called verified users, and if you follow a verified user, they're chosen because on their content channels, they're not just BSing information. They're actually taking time to research, to educate their audience. We don't look at necessarily how influential you are, but are you actually trying to educate people and make a difference in the way that you're making content? So, yeah.
Yeah. So let's just take me for example, right? Like as a content creator, let's go from the content creator perspective. Why would I want to join Verde?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of that's a great question, right? So like, and especially if like, let's just say I'm like a phenomenal investor, I'm someone who's making like 100% or something crazy every year in my portfolio. What is my motivation to let anyone see my portfolio or my trades, right? And so, if you are a verified user on the platform, it's going to provide you with an opportunity to actually monetize your portfolio. So, for example, just for and by the way, like your personal actual holding amount's not going to be shown, so I won't see how much money you have. I'll just see like your splits of your portfolio, stuff like that. But yeah, like if I subscribe to you on Verde, if you're a verified user and I subscribe to you, let's say I'd pay you like $3 a month, and I'd get to see, when you're making trades, or I can see your portfolio. And I think, especially for a lot of younger folks that really learn by seeing, I think that's kind of what content creation is promoted, is like, hey, let me see this person do it, and then let me try to mimic that. It's a substack model, or like a Patreon kind of model, but it's bringing it into, it's integrating that transparency aspect of it, because you have a lot of people who are saying that like I made this trade yesterday on Tesla calls, I made 1,000%, and then they'll only show their winners, and then those people don't show their losers. And if you have your portfolio connected to Verde, I mean, let me see, dude. Like let's see if you want to monetize that channel, then yeah, you have your platform to do so. And it's a win-win, really. If you're doing the right thing, if you're really a good financial content creator, then it's really a win-win for the end users and for the creators as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think one of the drawbacks for why a guy wouldn't want to go in there is because like if their trades suck.
Yeah, I think that rawness is what people sometimes need to see, and it doesn't necessarily have to. I think that's something we're going to have to explore as the platform kind of matures, and how the verified users are enjoying their experience, and if things like that. But I think that element of rawness is what it's kind of needed, really, because it's not. I mean, nobody only wins in the market. The market goes up, it goes down all the time, right? So I think demonstrating good aspects of value investing, for example, is I think a better indication to someone's followers than actually saying that, hey, look, I made 50% by YOLOing on some penny stock that has no good fundamentals at all. Right. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, I mean, that's why I would kind of take my talents over there, right? And so basically I would like hook up a stock trading account, and then it just tracks the trades for me. Like, how does that work?
Yeah. So we have a full integration via Plaid. Plaid's like a well-known unified banking API. So yeah, you would link your portfolio to Verde, and Verde takes care of the rest.
But it doesn't show the amounts; it just shows percentages.
Right, and only to the people that are actually following you. So you would have to accept the follow, unless you wanted to be a fully public account, then that's okay as well.
Right, but so you could be a public account without charging.
You can, yeah.
Or if you wanted to charge, like, hey, you want my trades? Here it is.
Right. Yeah, I think like even something like $2-3 a month is something most retail investors would be willing to make the investment for, if they like their personality, or if they're interested in seeing what this guy's invested in, then yeah, it kind of scales at that level.
Is there like a way to make content on there too?
Yeah, so that's one thing we want to do. So we have like the Verde experience, and I guess it's a little hard to describe without actually looking at kind of the image of the platform, but so content creators, you're gonna have like your own profile page on Verde. So you'll get notification. I'll get notifications, for example, if you're a verified user, I'll get notifications that, hey, Ryan just increased his portfolio share of Apple stock by 15%. I'll see something like that maybe. But if you're also making great content on your channel, I can go on your profile and much like TikTok or something, I can see videos that you've made, or you can just directly integrate links to your own channels where you might already be doing things. I think the model of taking people away from a model that already works is not something we necessarily want to do. So if there's a lot of people who are making really great content on Substack, right? And they have a lot of Substack subscribers, and they might want to use Verde as a medium to further their engagement or grow their audience or grow their platform. And so there's no reason that they can't coexist.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of these guys start Substack. I don't even really know what Substack is.
Yeah, I'm not a user as well, but I think it's like they write like blogs, and they write articles, and kind of just a piece of their mind, and it's a subscription kind of thing. So they charge some kind of nominal monthly fee, and
so it's a blog subscription.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
That's pretty easy enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, because every time I've seen it, I'm like, is this like a newsletter service or like what?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
I like the business model. So why would somebody, I guess, who's not a content creator join Verde?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different reasons, and it's not just the Verde social aspect of it either. So I think regardless of kind of where you are in your financial journey, there's something for you on the platform. So the Verde Insights platform, there's tremendous value there where you can actually acquire knowledge about how to value companies and how to value stocks very simply and very easily. We have things like Verde scores and Verde ratings that we kind of compute in-house as well, and kind of makes this whole process of analyzing and doing this due diligence process a lot easier when you're about to get started into investing. So there's the Insights platform, obviously the MyVerde platform for your own kind of insights. It's like a personal capital with some additional features. And if a verified user wanted to be on the social platform, it would be for a lot of different reasons. So I guess as an example, we've been speaking with a lot of different universities recently. And a lot of universities have investment clubs. And what these investment clubs do at these universities, they have like these investment competitions, like semester-long or year-long investment competitions. And the way that they do it is they either use like one of those like pseudo brokerages, like Investopedia or something like that, to track it, or you could create like a group on Verde and actually have it track there. And you also get all these other insights that, I guess professors or people in the university can look at and be like, wow, that was a insightful trade you made. That was, your value score in your portfolio is doing really well. It's a little bit of a deeper knowledge there.
Yeah. So you see it more as like a training platform for users. They're going to like learn a lot.
I think so. Yeah, that's definitely like one of our biggest missions is promoting financial literacy. That's what we. So I don't even like these days necessarily go about saying that, hey, it's like a social media platform. I say it's a well, I do, but it's like a platform really to promote financial literacy. That really is kind of our end mission here.
Yeah, to me it seems more like an educational platform that's more, I guess, decentralized, right? It's like not just you guys providing the education, right? You're incentivizing the community.
Yeah.
Hey, let creators put content. They'll get paid for it. Let people pay to learn, and they can learn for free. They can learn from Verde Insights. Like, yeah. To me, it seems social media is like an aspect of it.
Right. Yeah. I do suspect that it's going to be probably the most popular aspect of the platform. I think a lot of, especially with the way that social media has kind of just had this massive adoption in investments, I do suspect that people will predominantly be wanting to use that. But it's nice because here's another case study, right? It's like there's other kind of, if I'm going on Reddit, for example, or if I'm going on some other social investment thread where I'm reading, a discussion or people are posting comments, I'll see someone be like, oh man, I just bought 1,000 shares of this company. And let's not even get into the fact that okay, do I believe him or do I not believe him? Forget that. But I'm generally curious about maybe this company. Now, rather than kind of having to go outside of that and then do my own research and come back, you have this all into one platform where you can be engaging on the social side. You're seeing things that look interesting to you. You can just immediately go look it up on the Insights platform. You can add it to your own portfolio. You can see how that's performing in your portfolio manager. So there's a lot of really creative ways that you can use the platform.
As the world starts to go more digital, you need to be aware of which businesses are going to thrive in the future. One of the obvious ones is e-commerce. In fact, last year, e-commerce sales did over $4 trillion globally, and it's continuing to grow. Now, if you're like most people, you probably don't have time to learn a whole new industry and start a new business. But there is another way. you could partner with us at Lunar Ecom. We have over 300 e-commerce stores that we have created and managed for our clients. And the best part is, it's completely passive on their end. The business model is very simple. You cover the cost of creating and running the store. We handle everything else. We pick the products, we handle fulfillment, returns, and customer satisfaction. After all that, we split profits at the end of the month. This means that when you win, we win. If you want to learn more about how it works, you can watch our case study at lunarecom.com. I believe that the e-commerce space is going to continue to explode as the world goes digital. So make sure you're with the right partner who's going to be ahead of those trends. So go schedule a call with my team today at lunarecom.com if you want to learn about how we can start taking your passive income to the moon. Most people want to get rich at all costs. They make sacrifices with their family, their health, and their faith, all in the pursuit of money without even realizing it. But what if I told you it doesn't have to be that way? What if you could grow your wealth in all areas of life? Well, it's possible, and that's why I created The Wealthy Way. It's a community of people striving to grow together in all areas. And we have multiple tools for you to use that are completely free. You can get access to the Wealthy Way Planner, where you can set goals and hold yourself accountable on a daily basis. We also have our Wealth Builder Academy, which is over 4 hours of content teaching you how to manage your time, create the right goals, and all the biggest secrets I've used to grow my life, not only in my net worth, but in all aspects. Lastly, we have our Discord community where thousands of wealth builders are all over the world encouraging one another and growing together. And once again, all of this is completely free. There are no upsells, there are no hidden catches. For me, this is a passion project and I want to build a community of like-minded people. So if you want to start living the wealthy way today, go to wealthyway.com. There you can get all the free resources like the course, planner, and Discord community. So go to wealthyway.com. Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. So my question is, I mean, and this is the hard part, right? Like, how do you get adoption? Because like the concept and the idea are great. I think a lot of people, especially those listening right now, like if you're on YouTube, comment below if like you think, yeah, this is something I would totally love to be a part of, right? And there's a chance that you can get on it too. We'll talk about that later in the episode. But you know, it's like, to me anyways, I'm always thinking from the marketing and sales perspective. I'm just like, yeah, idea's great, but man, how do you get users?
Yeah. So there's a couple of different ways that you can do it. So I can tell you kind of some of the strategies that we're employing. So kind of the nice part about the business model on the social side is that because it's, so a very popular business model in a lot of new startups is, hey, let's use content creator let's use influencer partnerships and ask them to make a couple of videos for us, you know? But the problem is that doesn't generate any kind of stickiness with your platform. Whereas the way on Verde is that so we've been talking to a lot of content creators, and by incentivizing them to actually be users of the platform, it not only creates stickiness onto the platform, but it also allows their subset of followers to also have an opportunity to, adopt and come onto the platform as well. And then the second layer to that is we want to take also, explore the educational avenues. So I think any ways that you can create kind of events that are going to have a lot of eyes is always a good way of going about it. So universities are really like a great breeding ground for a lot of great
Facebook.
Yeah. And so you can make these little university groups like the Tinder model. That's like, where
that's how Tinder started, was universities?
I don't know if they started in universities, but I do know that they had this model where it's like you can connect with other students at your university. So like you're not just seeing people within a certain radius, you're actually seeing people within your university, which I think was, so those are kind of the things we're exploring. But I think definitely on the social side is going to be a powerful way to start growing up some users. It's gonna come down to people being believers of the platform, some adoption there, and then of course, marketing spend and things like that are other ways that you can definitely do that.
Yeah. So tell me about like guys like me, right? Like I'm a real estate guy. Yeah. I'm not day trading. Sure. I'm not really buying stocks. Like, what would be the plan for guys like me?
Yeah, I mean, the social platform too, I guess the long-term scope of the social platform is that it's not going to just stop at equities. We want this to be a platform where anything that counts as an investment should be something that, adds to financial literacy is not just investing in stocks. It's being aware of, purchasing property, exploring other avenues of financial growth, right? So someone like you could use that as a platform to be more transparent with your audience about maybe how you go about your home buying processes or what you're doing on the real estate side, what you're doing on the NFT side. So sharing your NFT purchases with the community or with your followers is something that you would be able to that you could do. So it's kind of the way that you want to engage with your audience as a user. I guess if you're not super into stocks, yeah, I don't know. I guess there would have to be some level of interest there, but I do think. Well, I'm curious why you don't invest much. I guess is it because you prefer to use your cash or other forms of investment, or you just never been super into the market?
A couple of reasons why I don't invest too much into stocks is one, I mean, opportunity costs. Like I know that my cash can be used for real estate. It can be used for my own businesses.
Yeah.
I'd rather bootstrap my own startups, and
Right.
I've never taken outside capital for anything, right? So I reinvest a lot of my money into just myself, essentially, because I'd rather bet on me. So that's probably reason number one. Reason number two would be I'm just not good at it. Like I have no desire to learn. I have no desire to look at charts. I have no desire to do anything with stocks. And the thought of just sitting on my computer and looking at graphs in the market every day just like makes me want to die.
Yeah, I think a lot of people share that same feeling with you. Like it really is, and it's something. It's like if you have like not financially, well, I shouldn't say not financially savvy, but if you really just like don't want to have interest in looking at these charts and all these numbers and like just throwing these websites just throwing out what PE ratios and free cash flows are and like what does that actually mean to you, right? So I think maybe by being a user for Verity, you might get more interested maybe in the market.
Yeah, and I've thought about this as like hopefully my wealth grows, like, at that point start diversifying, because I've done the opposite of diversifying. I've been all in on real estate, my entire career, and it served me really well. And then I went all in on businesses, and those served me even better. And now I'm in crypto and NFTs too, right? And I understand what's going on there, and I'm very interested in that. Now I'm not interested in looking at charts and things. Like I look at the long term of it. I'm like, okay, I understand why Bitcoin has value. I understand it. Like, I think this, just based on theory, same thing with Ethereum and NFTs. I'm like, I get it, right? I don't need to know the specific details and all that. Like, and Stu, even with like NFT projects, I just don't have time to research all the projects. There's new projects every day, right? So, for me, I'm a business guy, so I'm like, I'll start my own, and then I'll build out systems where within my own project, we'll have underwriting teams that can do all of that for us and underwrite it for the community.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So what's the plan for all the crypto guys? Like at some point, do you think you'll be able to put their wallet, whatever?
We're also going full crypto integration down the line too. It's in our roadmap. On the inside side, that's going to be something really cool. So we're doing a lot of research on, because valuation for crypto is something that is quite frankly impossible, right? Because it's because of the type of asset class that it is. But I think there's a lot of interesting ways that you can help people quickly learn about projects and things like that on the research side. But I think like Verde wallets, like the whole 9 yards. So we definitely want to be super Web3 friendly, Web3 forward. Yeah. But
where'd the name Verde come from? Just because money's green or what?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it kind of became that. To be, I guess, completely honest, Gautam was eating a burrito once, and he was putting some salsa verde on it. We were in between thinking about so many names, and I didn't care too much about the name. I think the name becomes the company. You know what I mean? Like over time. But I kind of liked it. It had a good tagline with it, and then our designers like made up a couple logos and we kind of just ran with it, and I think people actually really like the branding, which has been something we didn't. I think you guys have great.
When you first reached out to me, and by the way, I guess that's a good time to talk about this. So, you had reached out to me. You're a customer at Lunar Ecom, and you were like, "Hey, man, customer here. You sent me an email. I got this project that I think you might be interested in. And so I said, okay, like tell me about it. And so you sent me the pitch deck and everything, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, like I really like the branding. And as a guy who's very passionate about marketing and branding, I was like, I really respect this. Like this is very good for a tech company. It's very inviting. Money is green. I'm like, everything about it is just great. And, we got on a Zoom and you guys kind of explained the vision and everything else. And, now I don't even know what you call it. I'm on the board, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just think that there's a lot of things that we can do with the company that's going to push it forward because, that is something that I've been now getting a lot of offers for. So many tech companies are now reaching out to me that want me to join the board and like however you would call it, right? I guess there's different sets of advisors. I'm still learning about it, right? But like they're like, hey, we want your expertise, we want your, influence. We want, if you want to put money into it, like that's cool too. But in turn, we know you can help the project go if you really like it. And so, this was one of those ones, man.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you saying that. And I mean, that there's a reason we reached out to you as well. So I've been consuming your content for a couple of years too. And so, it's not like I knew you on a personal basis, but I generally liked the way that, you conducted yourself and the way that you represented your personal brand. And so it was real estate, not so much stocks, but it was somewhat on brand with financial literacy in general. So I thought, you would have been a great fit. And so.
Yeah. No, it's super cool. Yeah. So tell me just about like, obviously MVP product, everything, that stuff is going through and everything's great. But, when you're starting a tech company, and this is something that I've been thinking a lot about with Tykes and, the tech companies we're building on, Web3, it's like capital, venture capital, private equity, like, okay, what are we doing? Are we going to raise money? Are we going to bootstrap? I bootstrapped everything to this point, but it's like, man, private equity might be a thing, but then everyone's like, man, there's no, like the market's drying up with, everything going on. Like, what's your experience been?
Yeah, so it's drastic changes right from last year to this year in terms of like the last couple of years, I guess, to this year with how the private markets have been. Where last year it was like, if you had an idea and a PowerPoint, you're probably getting money thrown at you at ridiculous valuations. No, not entirely true, but yeah, it was a very healthy, at the time. And now, with public markets are always directly correlated with the private markets as well. So public markets are going down. Private markets are, I wouldn't say exactly drying up, but they're definitely getting a lot more stringent on valuation and their due diligence side. So they're looking at kind of companies that can represent and demonstrate some more traction before they get in. It's a tough time, I guess, for any founders out there that might be listening. It's a tough time to be raising a round right now, especially with the summer coming up. The private space is also really not an optimal time. So I would personally just recommend kind of keeping head down, keep building, keep trying to grow users and do things on your end that can communicate a better story about your company's success. And then hopefully in a couple months, things kind of look up. But then on the other side, I guess in your space, though, I don't know if you would have kind of the similar experience because I was telling you right before, right? Andreessen Horowitz just raised like over $3 billion, $3.5 billion towards like a crypto fund in venture capital. So
yeah.
I mean, if you went and pitched Tykes, you never know. But I do think though.
But I don't need them. That's the thing.
You don't need them. And I think that's the biggest misconception about private markets in general is that a lot of these tech companies, they think that, if we can't get a VC, like we have no business. It's like, no, if you don't have that shouldn't be kind of the way it is, right? It's like there are some business models that are very conducive to definitely getting a massive jumpstart by getting venture funds and venture capital, especially in certain businesses where you actually do need a lot of upfront capital to kind of get things up and going. But people who run like SaaS businesses, like you don't need to be going to a VC. You can just start generating revenue, right? Like revenue is the best cure for lack of capital, right? Not debt. So,
well, that's what's so interesting about the NFT model that I really like. Is like, man, yeah. To your point, it used to be you had to go private equity, or you better have already made money doing something, right? And so in my case, I've already made money, and so I'm using that to fund Tykes and these other things, right? But like with the NFT route, a lot of good projects are using, the NFT as a way to generate these funds now. They don't need VCs, and so they get, this lump sum from the NFT, and then hopefully they don't blow it on dumb crap. But, if they're legit, they can now go build out infrastructure on whatever it was they promised to the NFT holders.
Yeah.
It's just such a cool new way to raise capital.
No, it really is. And I think ICOs are also really kind of a form of capital raise too. It's really interesting. It's like, you can pretty much, it's kind of like a community round, really. It's like kind of crowdsourcing via an ICO, but the bar for entry because like if you wanted to go IPO a company, right, there's a whole process behind that. But if you want to ICO some coin to fund your project, that's something that I know a lot of people have been kind of doing, but obviously there's conflicting opinions on that depending on
Yeah, there's, I mean, ever since like 2017 when there was all those ICOs, there's been like a huge crackdown on, how they do ICOs. Yeah, I've been very clear to everyone who's interested in Tykes. I'm like, hey, Tykes is not an investment, right? Like Tykes, they're going to produce Tycoin, which is our cryptocurrency, but, it has no value.
Yeah.
Like you're going to produce it and you're going to exchange it for all these things in our ecosystem, but I don't value it. It's just a token. And if you guys value it after market, whatever, that's on you. So I'm trying to stay away from securities and all that stuff.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. But no, I think it's NFTs and everything are just like, in the end, right? It goes back to our original conversation at the beginning of like why I'm so intrigued with, the blockchain and real estate and everything else, because it creates all these ways to innovate and do things that otherwise wouldn't happen. Like, man, social media was like the first wave, like 10 years ago, before social media was like a thing where everyone can get famous. It was like, man, you want to be famous, you got to be a celebrity, you got to be an actor, you got to be a singer, like whatever, athlete. Now it's like anyone can become famous overnight on social media.
Yeah.
And then in turn with a personal brand, you can go and raise money, you can go start businesses, you can go sell stuff, partner with people, and it just gives you a ton of power that it's really unbelievable. But as people start to realize the value of social media, you start to see these other things that are going to become really powerful too. You're like, man, the blockchain is going to change things like pretty quickly, And so
I'm definitely I'm a big also believer of Web3 kind of definitely growing and being in the future. But I do think though, I think there's so much of a misconception kind of about just crypto and blockchain and Web3 stuff in general. And I think that's because people are not treating it kind of for what it is. You know what I mean? I think there's there's a bit of a lack of understanding of kind of what it is at its core, but kind of people are just going to have to deal with the fact that there's going to be a lot of garbage kind of in the next couple of years in the whole space, right? It's like at the beginning of when all these Web 2, if you will, companies started coming out, there was not every new company that came out in that space was a winner. We actually, quite frankly, started seeing the winners of that space only start coming towards the end of that kind of era. And so now we're really kind of early in the whole Web3 adoption. People, like as much as, Bitcoin and Ethereum and all these things have gotten super popular, the global adoption of crypto is still like very not much at all.
Tiny.
It's tiny. So there's still a lot of space for it to grow. But I think though that the people who are kind of only invested in Bitcoin because they only know Bitcoin or they kind of have all their money in like Bitcoin and Ethereum, I would be maybe a little careful is kind of the way I'm seeing it. Because the thing is like, I mean, we saw what happened with Yahoo, right? And there's nothing to say that, there's not going to be new projects that come out towards, as Web3 matures, there could be new projects that come out that, very well could kind of supersede what these active projects are doing. So I think it's same thing with stocks too. It's always good to diversify what you're doing in crypto as well. I think you got to, in some ways, kind of treat it like being a VC towards crypto. Like you can't invest in a lot of things and then kind of see what happens because there's really no way to tell. Yeah.
It's funny because Bitcoin is, like there's the hardcore Bitcoin maxis, and then you have everybody trying to start a project to dethrone Bitcoin. And you just start thinking about it and you're like, man, like to your point, like there are those who believe like there's nothing anyone can do to stop Bitcoin's growth, right? It's limited supply. It doesn't have like it's truly decentralized and all those things. And I'm like, but yeah, you still don't think nobody can think of something better that's like easier to use, quicker, cheaper.
It'll definitely happen. It'll definitely happen. I mean, like even with Ethereum, I mean, to be honest, so I was super early on Ethereum. I started investing in Ethereum like 4 or 5 years ago. So I mean, I've been, for a while. So I never really thought Ethereum was like the most intelligent thing. Like I was actually way more pro Ethereum than I was pro Bitcoin because I didn't even understand at the time what even the point of Bitcoin was, right? Because I was like, okay, it's some artificial currency at the time. But yeah, Ethereum was like an internet and it was like it had some technology behind it and I was like, wow, this is really cool. And I always understood tech, so I like to invest in what I know. So I was in Ethereum, and then now I'm seeing there are some really amazing projects being made that could very well, if any one of them take off, really kind of replace Ethereum or kind of be like a better replacement for Ethereum. So I think it's important to be careful about investing in crypto. I think what you're doing, it might be the best move for a lot of people, just kind of doing your own project, because there's a lot of confusion and uncertainty in the market right now.
Yeah. Well, the reason I did my own project was because, I became really passionate about all this in the last, basically 2 years. And, as I started to understand the app, so like first I was passionate about it just for Bitcoin because I knew the government was going to print all this money and all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, crypto's about to pop. And it did.
Yeah.
But then, I understood, like once NFTs got popular, I started to understand like, oh my gosh, like this is going to change like actual real world stuff. This isn't just investing in Bitcoin and like hoping it goes up.
Yeah.
This is real application. And I know people will say Bitcoin's going to have all this application, but it doesn't do anything as of today.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I mean, Bitcoin's real future is like if it actually has adoption in banks or like, yeah. I mean, but you're right though. Like, but then there's this stuff with like utility that probably will have significant more adoption.
Yeah. And so I just was like, man, NFTs this is where it's at. And so, everybody was like, okay, well, how's it going to affect real estate? And so I started naming how I thought it was going to affect real estate. And they're like, where do I learn more about this? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Like nobody's talking about it. Nobody knows about it. Like, it's just this new thing. Like you might probably just go to me. And I'm like, all right, it's time to start like my own project and my own group that's dedicated to, merging real estate and blockchain.
I think real estate is probably one of the best ways to really kind of integrate blockchain tech with. I've been researching that there's a lot of MLS data. So like so you buy a lot of real estate, right? So there's a lot of holes in MLS data, right? And because of the fact that like data is not stored well over time, and that there's like missing data in the way that home buying and selling is stored. And someone was saying online that if like, if we actually make the entire home buying process, the actual sale of real estate, something that you track on the blockchain, then that would resolve this big issue of filling all the holes in MLS data.
Right.
I thought stuff like that is very intelligent. That actually solves a very large problem and it actually can have some serious impact later on, as the space kind of progresses. So yeah, definitely a lot of cool stuff coming, especially in the real estate blockchain side.
Yeah, no, I love it. Well, dude, I love talking tech, especially as I go down this path, and I'm super excited to see what you guys do with Verde. And I'm happy to be a part of it and help as it goes forward. I think anybody who is interested in finance or crypto, real estate, stocks, everything, they could benefit from getting a profile. How would somebody get a profile today? It's in beta right now, right?
Yeah, so Verity's in beta right now. So if you go on verde.finance, you can just sign up right on the site. You can just click beta, or if you would rather wait until the whole product is out, you can sign up for the wait list and we'll send you an email.
Yeah. So if you're passionate about finance, go get on the beta, test it out, give us some feedback on what we can be doing better. And yeah, I like the concept, dude. And I appreciate you coming out to Vegas to share. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man.
Cool. All right, man. Well, guys, make sure you do that and make sure you're subscribed, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace. Thanks for watching The Ryan Pineda Show. If you want to work with me, head over to ryanpineda.com. You can find my courses, coaching programs, and upcoming events. We also have free resources you can download, so head over to ryanpineda.com.